Welcome back to another episode of On a Mission. I'm your host, Dr. Wendy Norfleet with Norfleet Integrated Solutions, and it is my pleasure to have with me Michellea Millis Rucker with Transforming Our Practice. Welcome, Michellea.
Thank you so much, Dr. Norfleet, or Wendy, since
Yes,
I've known
please.
you for some time. How are you?
I am doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing well.
So, tell me a little bit about Transforming Our Practice.
Yeah, so Transforming Our Practice was born out of my 20 plus years in education. Towards the end of my 20 years, I was a coach, instructional leadership, and equity coach. And I just came out of the classroom about a year ago. And I said, how do I take those skill sets, especially for school leaders, and transfer it into a business? And so I am a transformational leadership coach, facilitator, consultant, although I like to call myself a thought partner, and a leadership developer. And so in Transforming Our Practice, those are the things we do, linked to C-suite leaders as well as education leaders.
I was going to ask you, so you started initially with educational leaders because that was your area, and then you kind of morphed into other areas.
Yes, exactly. Through International Coaching Federation, I got my accreditation, and that kind of put me in a platform of other coaches who do other work specifically around transformational leadership. And then other folks started coming to me saying, hey, I'm a CEO and I want to transform who I am as a leader. And so I was like, hey, there's another area that I can also use my skill sets that I were using in K through 12 to help leaders, period.
So what do you find that when people reach out to you, is there like a theme? Obviously, some people don't know what transformation is. They know maybe that they need some help. So how do they come to you?
Yeah, that's a great question, Wendy. They come to me because they need help as a leader and they're not sure. Because I still think coaching is so new in the minds of people that think they don't know if it's therapy, they don't know if it's a mentor.
People call it so many different things.
They do. But then I explain to them what coaching is and what coaching is not, and then they understand. I am there to ask those thought-provoking questions to get you to reflect and think about the leader that you want to be. So it's a lot of leader identity work, and then come up with action steps that actually move you closer to the leader that you want to be eventually.
Right. And I know being a coach, I work with quite a few companies locally, and it's so funny because a lot of times it's their HR people that send them to me. And it's like, maybe the valuations have drastically changed and they're in leadership. And so do you find that to be the case? Do you also get referrals from like HR, the HR departments or maybe their supervisor?
Yeah, so I actually have a couple of contracts that our HR, the company pays for it. And so it's always interesting because you want people to come to coaching because it's of their desire, because that's a different dynamic when it's of your own wishing. But then when HR sends, I often say to them, coaching is not a PIP. It's not a personal improvement plan. So therefore, when people come, you kind of have to work with them to think about how is coaching going to benefit them, not looking at this as an evaluative process.
But for some companies, you're right. I've worked with a couple that, this person, their evaluation is not that great. We're going to give it a year, which means that we're going to help pour into them to help them fix themselves, for lack of a better word, and then we'll evaluate at the end.
Yeah.
But you're right. By then, a lot of times people have attitudes, and so you really have to get them to trust you. First of all, I worked with someone, and it took maybe a month before she would show me the evaluation. I'm like, how can we work toward the evaluation if I don't see it?
Yeah, and that's because evaluation means something's wrong with you. And in my coaching philosophy, there's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
You come whole.
Right.
We're working on areas that are goals for you.
Right.
But the company is looking at bottom line dollars. They're
Right.
not looking at the humanistic aspect, which is what you have to now, within that month that you were talking about, really build that relational trust to get to where they can
You can really look at, okay, now let's look at the areas for improvement.
Exactly.
So for people out there who are, a little confused on what coaching is, and coaching can be a good thing. I mean, most people have been coached at some point in their lives. They may not have had that title, but you've been coached at sometime in your life. But people, for some reason, either people embrace it or they draw back from it.
Yeah. When I talk to people, I say to them, do you remember having a coach in athletics, if you were an athlete, or someone who helped you to, overcome something or push through? And everybody can think of someone, whether it's a boss, whether it's a supervisor, colleague, or actual coach in baseball or basketball or something like that. And I said, remember how they were sort of motivating you through whatever it was you were going through. Coaching is similar.
Yeah, it is.
And I also say to them that some of the most well-known CEOs have coaches, very expensive, high-paid coaches
Right.
that have actually helped them get to the places that they want to be. Then I also let them know about the folks like Tony Robbins, who is a coach, and other people who are well-known. In my eyes, we should normalize coaching. It should be a benefit when you come to any organization. After I hire you, Wendy, I say, and as a part of our leadership development, we offer coaching.
Coaching, right.
One of the things that I like to say to people is like when Oprah used to say, you get a car, you get a car, you get a coach, you get a coach, you get a coach.
I like that. I'm going to end on that because I think that is just perfect. And I really thank you for joining today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Please check out Transforming Our Practice, and we'll see you next time on Buzz TV.